Hey everybody, welcome to Message Delivery. You can't make this stuff up. I'm your host, Lisa Ann. I'm an intuitive, psychic, medium channeler and the owner of angelmessagestoyou.com. If you would like to book a reading with me, call me at 919-744-9691, or you can check out my website at angelmessagestoyou.com. That's angel messages, the number 2, the letter U.com. I look forward to hearing from you. So, as we do every start of the show, I like to pull a card for you all. We're having a little bit of a technical difficulty with the video, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you what the card is. And this particular one that has been pulled is an angel that can't fly right now. And basically what I just want you to know about this is that you're not as tied up as you think you are, that you have the ability to get out of your own way to make the changes. Nobody is holding you back. So I just want you to know that, you're supported. You're supposed to fly and get out and do some good in the world. So anyway, I just wanted to put that out there, but no matter when you hear this message, it's meant for you to hear it at that time. Also, just wanted to let you know that today's giveaway is going to be a 30-minute intuitive card reading, so stay tuned for a little bit later so you can call into the show and see if you can win. So today's show is about angels that walk amongst us, and I feel like I'd almost coined the phrase like Jeff Foxworthy and say, you might be an angel if. So there's a lot of buzzwords and titles out there that are about different kinds of angels. So the question is, could you be one of them? And chances are, if you've even tuned into this show, I'll give you a hint. You are one of them. But question is, which one? So some part of this is going to resonate with you in a big way. But we've got 4 we're going to be working on talking about today. And bottom line is, you're going to be really hard pressed today to not find somebody that has or has heard of a stranger that has filled the shoes of one of these descriptions. So like if there's extra standbyers that are like, have you ever heard of that one angel that showed up at the accident and helped to flip the car over and or that one person that showed up at the right time, nobody knows who they were, where they went, and they never saw them again. That's the kind of profound stuff that happens all the time. But what about you and I? Well, there's many different ways that you affect people just by being you. Have you ever just had the urge to check on somebody, not know why, or find out that it was the perfect time? I know I've had that. I love it, and it's just been amazing. I have done that for other people. They just needed somebody, and you were that person that reached out to them at the perfect time. And have you ever been at the right place at the right time to help somebody in need? My son sent me a video. There was a woman that rolled out into the street in a wheelchair, and he ran out and he made sure that she got across because she was floundering trying to figure out things. So he was at the right place at the right time. Chances are you didn't plan on it, yet the plan was, and you were there and you helped them. So what about the doctors, the nurses, and the plethora of other professionals that help in today's society? Everybody is bringing something to the table. We're all contributing in some way. It could be as simple as smiling and saying hello to that stranger and giving them a hug, or sharing your sandwich or cookie. Might be dropping a couple of coins into somebody that's homeless or giving them a drink. Despite you not having wings, though, your presence and life path right now says differently. The current reality is that we have a lot of titles out there, and we all try to compartmentalize exactly what kind of an angel you are and what your job here on earth is. And it's really not really necessary to have a title, but it will help to kind of learn more and at least kind of figure out where you kind of fit in the big picture. So trust me, when you start to see a path unfold for you, you're going to know it. So today we're going to touch on just a few things that are out there, and these are only 4. There's plenty of other ones. So these are just kind of the top 4. So we're going to talk about empaths, lightworkers, starseed, and indigo angels. So what are there more? Definitely, but those are the ones we're just going to touch on. And my job today is I just want to just touch the top of some of these so that you can actually go, you know what? I kind of fall into that category. And you know what? I'm going to dig a little bit further. You might see more descriptive things about these that you're going to go, I kind of get that. That is me. Or you know somebody that it's just like that. So I want to stress that some of these characteristics overlap. Everything is not clear cut, black and white, only this or only that. So you might hear some things it's like, oh, you said that about the other one. Well, they kind of overlap. Can you be more than one? Absolutely. And it's only when you start getting into this a little bit more that you realize all the cool things that you actually have in these different categories. But just know that as a collective, you are by far part of something bigger and here to assist whether you know it or not. You might also find that this describes somebody that you know, even children. There are so many children that have just fallen into these categories, but once you know, it explains so much about them. So you might have a friend or family member that has been describing some of these characteristics. You might actually be able to go and help them now because at least there's something they might not have even known about. So let's get started. So first one is starseed angels. So what I've got is I've got a bunch of things that these are going to be characteristic of each one. And chances are if you get about 8 out of 10 of them, again, there's a really strong chance you could be one of them or know one of these. So this is just touching a few of them. So they're super intelligent. You have a sincere interest in sciences and physics. They're often described to be ahead of their time. They are heavily involved in causes for humanity. They have a natural psychic or mediumistic abilities. They experience sleep paralysis. So for those of you that don't know what that is, have you ever been in a dream and you're trying to wake up and you can't wake up and it feels like your body is just paralyzed? That's what it is. So that's what sleep paralysis is. Also, photographic memories. Oh my gosh, the smallest things they will remember, and they could remember how the hair was worn, if there was a button missing, almost just insane amounts of details for many, many years back. They've often been described as having captivating eyes, not just color, but people can't pull away from staring at them. There's just something so mesmerizing about them. Another thing that I know I've experienced and I didn't understand until I got more into this, but you just don't feel like you belong in your body. Like it's almost like this isn't mine. Where did this come from? You're anchored to the earth. You've never been tied to in gravity, and it just feels almost like your body's some type of like an avatar. Strong resistance or rebellion against systems that are meant to control. And that is not working for you. You love the stars at night and you love the night sky. Like that just looks really familiar to you. You have a longing for home, but you're not sure where that is. Like even your house doesn't feel like home at times. You just feel like there's someplace you're supposed to be. You love science fiction or astrology. You've often thought of yourself as the black sheep of the family. You've often been called an old soul. You have super vivid dreams, but also have sleep problems. You're great with creating fantasy and escapism. You may lean towards substance abuse. Babies and animals are drawn to you. Highly sensitive to harsh lights. And there are certainly a lot more descriptive things that you could look into about this if a lot of this is resonating with you. And again, if you've got at least 8 out of 10, chances are you are of the starseed. So, okay, so yeah, you can attribute that you've got most of these attributes. So what is your purpose? Well, again, just to lightly touch upon it, your talents and gifts and abilities are to help mankind, and you are here to share them unapologetically. You're going to rebel. You're going to break systems down. You just aren't going to march to the beat of any drummer except your own. And that's your job. So even though people might call you difficult, guess what? You're doing what you're supposed to be doing. They got to get over it. And I say that with all the love in the world, because we all know that there are some people that just push the envelope. So anyway, so next one, indigo angels. So this can be an adult or a child. They are often extremely sensitive and strong-willed, introverted, often diagnosed with ADHD and ADD. Sense of royalty, and they act like it. They get bored really easy. They're prone to nightmares and insomnia. Extraordinary dream life that is extremely vivid. Easily attracted to plants, nature, and outdoors. Highly telepathic. Sometimes mind reading. They feel like they want to go home. They struggle to find what they want to do. They often hear there is something different about you, but nobody can seem to tell them what that is. Nothing intrigues them enough to dedicate themselves to anything. There's large amounts of people that make them feel uncomfortable. Spirituality is a second nature, and they feel that they have a bigger mission in life, but no clue what it is. They're often told, hey, they're too mature for their age. They got artistic abilities. They're super driven about what they're working on. And those are just a few. Did you check off most of the boxes? Well, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about what your purpose would be. And we're going to then discuss two of the more common ones that are out there. So we'll be right back. Hey, everybody, welcome back. I am Lisa Ann, and you are listening to Message Delivery. You can't make this stuff up. I am your host, and if you are interested in booking a reading with me, you can reach me at 919-744-9691, or you can reach out to me at angelmessagestoyou.com. I have a blog on there, funny stories. I just try to keep it light and airy. I'm on this spiritual journey with all of you, but feel free to reach out to me if you have any thoughts or if you're interested in booking a reading. So getting back to the show, we're talking about angels, and are you one of them? So we're only touching about 4 of them right now today, but we've already talked about starseed angels, and we just finished up the master list of what an indigo child is, or an indigo angel. So we got through the list, but the point is that if you checked off a bunch of those things on that list, what's your purpose? Well, guess what? You're a system buster. You fight back and you are not going to conform or fit in. You do as an example for others. So instead of just doing what everybody else is doing, you just don't conform. You actually fight the system, and you try to get people to see that there are other ways, and it's just not a monopoly. So basically, you don't let socially, you don't want society to kind of mold you and tell you what you're supposed to do or where you're supposed to be. And we need people like that, because if not, it's really easy for people to just be followers. And we're all leaders. We all have that leading capability, some by example, and we're very noisy. Other times we're quiet, but boy, our roar is mighty. So anyway, we are going to get back into now the next 2. Now the next 2 are basically more popular buzzwords, but they overlap in a lot of ways, and they're also important though, because these are some very intense type of people, but chances are you're overlapping in some of these or all of them, and that's okay. So just want to get back to that. So we're going to talk about how these might resonate with you, and the first one is getting back into them is empaths. Is this you? So got a bunch of things here that could apply to you. So do your emotions get the best of you? Do you mirror the environment around you? Like if you're happy, everybody's happy. If everybody's sad though, you're sad too. Do you ever get that to that point? Everybody's coming to you for advice. Oh my gosh, have you ever sat there and people tell you the stuff that they do and you're going, I don't know you well enough to know that stuff. But hate to sound like Jeff Foxworthy, but you might be an empath. So You run scenarios and situations in your head about most things. You run it 4 different ways from Sunday, and then you figure out what you're going to do. You find meaning and purpose in even just the littlest things. You tend to give way more than you receive. You tend to overcommit. People tell you they just feel better being around you. Not that you've done anything, but there's a calming effect that you have around people. And it's just because you're standing there. You don't even know that you're doing it. You tend to have a smaller number of friendships, but you've got stronger connections. So you're not as much dealing with quantity as much as quality. I'm sure people have probably told you that you are just too sensitive and that little things trigger you. You're one of those people, you stand up for the underdog, those in need. You're the champion person that just says, you know what, that's not right. You need some alone time to recharge, relax, and clear your thoughts. And you're not trying to be mean about needing alone time, but it's just something that just works for you personally. You're also sensitive to spirit around you. Um, this one is always fun because everybody's got a different level. How's your BS meter? You probably go, oh my gosh, people just spout off things, and I could tell they are just so full of it. You just know the BS meter is just off the chart because you're using your senses. You shy away from conflict. You're not somebody that you root for the underdog, but you're not intentionally looking for being that vocal person that's constantly in front of somebody that's the first one to an argument. You can't handle a lot of chaos around you. And I get that, especially with what's going on in the world right now. There's a lot of chaos, and sometimes it's just better for you mentally, physically, and emotionally to just stay away. But because of that, sometimes you can be told that you're closed off and aloof. And you know what you're doing though? You don't owe anybody any apologies for that because you're protecting your energy. And that's the bottom line. Even though it doesn't look like that to them, they don't understand why you come across as snotty, or you're not talking to them, or you didn't approach them at a party. And it's just you're not feeling it. On top of doing all that, though, have you ever gotten really, really drained around certain people? Like when you leave, you're just like, I need to go lay down, or I just need to get a break. You probably are an empath. Sometimes you can even be called emotionless at times. So, and I get that. For me personally, and this is just kind of airing some of how I was many years ago before I even knew what most of this was. The bottom line is that when I raised my kids, I was always that strong one. I was the one that was the, rooting for everybody, and I was always super strong. But because of that, I shut my emotions down. Now, what happened? Well, the great news is that I was not one of those moms that cried. I just never cried. In fact, and I know this is going to sound really odd, I never cried in front of my boys at all whatsoever until they were like 16 or 17. Now, most guys are probably sitting there going, wow, finally, some woman that doesn't have emotions. I had them, I just never showed them. I would maybe cry in private, but my kids never see. Now, what would be the wow factor to that? Again, I wasn't this overly emotional mom. What's the downside? Well, let me just tell you, when my boy sat down and said, Mom, you did us a disservice because you never showed emotion or never cried. Guess what we're dealing with now? Dating. These girls cry and they have emotions, and we don't know how to handle them because you never showed us what to do or how to handle them because you were the example. And I realized I did my boys a disservice. Now, trust me, they're just fine right now. They've gotten used to it really quick. And yes, I do actually have emotions now, and I'm really good at vocalizing it and standing up for myself when I need to speak. But this was many, many years ago. And I realized it was a disservice because I shut my emotions down. Anyway, people drain you. You're supposed to have emotions and protect your energy. But let's just talk about if you're an empath, what's your purpose? Well, part of your purpose is that you can read and detect and you process energy around you. You help people feel understood. Remember those people that come up to you and just want to tell you their entire life story? And they just tell you so many insane details. You're like, I do not need to know that. You're shocked. It's one of those things you go home and you call up your best friend going, you are not going to believe somebody came up to me. I don't even know them. And they were telling me all of these things. There's some type of a connectedness that they had to you. And that's why they decided to tell you that. But you are an excellent friend. You are an absolute superb listener. You have a great big heart. And people need this. They need to feel that somebody is understanding them. You acknowledge them. You help them in just being next to them. Sometimes sitting on a park bench, somebody's having a horrible day. And you know what? Just because you're sitting there, it kind of helps them to put themselves in check. But on an energetic level, you're actually just calming them down and you don't even know. But you are an awesome individual. So another thing I used to do that my dad always gave me grief about was he called me the town psychologist because I listened to everybody all the time and I was fascinated and I felt really honored. People wanted to tell me stuff. But then I started realizing how many at one point in my life, I noticed how many people were draining me every single time. Like it would be 2 and 3 hours on the phone consistently all the time. And they were just dumping. It's like they had a problem, they had to call and dump it on me. And the problem was that being an empath, I took it and I wanted to make it my own to try to fix it. Some people don't want to get fixed right away. They just want you to hear about it. So just know that if you're an empath, that's probably more common than you think. But if somebody's shying away from you, they're just trying to protect their energy. It's not necessarily that they're being mean to you. So let's talk about another one. So Lightworkers. Lightworkers are just amazing people. And there are subsections to Lightworkers out there. So don't feel that, that doesn't fit me entirely. If you dig into this, there are different ways that you are a light worker. So these are just some ideas of things that might be descriptive of you. So you feel an inner calling to help people. Now, that could be in your profession. It could be personally. It doesn't matter. You walk, you walk. You walk your walk. Sorry about that. Tongue twister. But you are who you are. You're unapologetic about who you are. This is me. Take it or leave it. You are often in a service type of industry. And that could be many different things, but you just enjoy helping people, or you're put in a position where you are doing a service for others. You pass along messages to others. So what does that mean? In a way that you speak, you don't realize the effect that you might have on people. And this is something that happens to me a lot until I realized what my gifts were and what I was doing. But ever sit there and just be that really great friend and people are talking to you and they're going, that was really good. Could you say that again? And I'm going, nope, can't, don't know. I have no idea. But you pass along messages. There's a way that you articulate and you tend to say the right thing at the right moment. And that's what's amazing. So we're going to take a real quick break right now. We've got another long list of things here that we're going to go over. And I just want to make sure that you stay tuned. And when we come back, we also are going to take the first caller for a 30-minute intuitive card reading. And we'll give you the number right after the break. Hey, everybody, welcome back. I am your host, Lisa Ann, and you are listening to Message Delivery. You can't make this stuff up. And I am a psychic, intuitive, empath, medium channeler. So if you're interested and you would like to get a reading, feel free to reach out to me at 919-744-9691, or you can check out my website at angelmessagestoyou.com. That's angelmessages, the number 2, the letter U.com. So as promised, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to take the first caller at 800-930-2819. Again, 1-800-930-2819. And if you are the first caller, you're going to win a 30-minute intuitive card reading from me. So just want to say good luck. But if you're just joining us today, we are talking about angels. And we have already talked about Starseed. We've talked about Indigo. We've discussed empaths. And right now we're working through the list of descriptive things that could be a light worker. So We've already discussed you've got an inner calling to help people. You walk, your walk. My goodness, the tongue twisters are hard today. You are who you are. Um, you often are in a service industry. You tend to pass along messages to others. You write blogs. You're a teacher. You do videos. You write books. But sometimes you're just that messenger that you tend to show up at the right time and you say the right thing. Sometimes you don't even know what you're saying, but you're just put in that path for somebody else to help them. And you don't realize it's just an encouraging word. That makes all the difference in the world. People need to be acknowledged. They need to be seen. So absolutely, that's an option that, you probably are an empath. So you've been told that that you already know it, but you've been told you're just a really decent human being. Like there's just generally, you're just a nice person. And people don't really have too many complaints about you. You're aware and you seek messages in your dreams. Now, I'm going to do another whole show on dreams. So we're going to dive into that in detail. But you wake up and you go, there's a message in that dream. I don't know what it is. It means something. It was vivid. It was colorful. It was profound. You remember so many of the details. Now, not everybody remembers their dreams every single night, but if you are getting messages in your dreams, you wake up again, you've got a song lyric in your head. Don't know what you were doing in your dream, or maybe you were so busy in your dream. It could be any of that. So anyway, just you are aware of and you seek messages in your dreams. Another thing is you listen to your inner guidance a lot. Something doesn't feel right. You just have an odd feeling about something. Somebody is, that BS meter that we talked about, you're going, yeah, no, 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 no. That's what that is. But you tend to listen to what you feel, and you don't have to describe it. You can just honestly say something's not right. I don't know what it is. Somebody could be doing a really hard sell on you to try to get you to see it their way, and you're going, no, something's not right. So anyway, another thing is you tend to guide others. You're kind of a natural born leader, even though you may not want that title, but you tend to lead people, you guide them. So maybe in your area of expertise, people come to you for help, for guidance. You are the consult for them. You could be that person that just has so much intense knowledge about a subject that you actually hold people's hands. You're not necessarily trying to dictate them or dictate around them. You're just actually just holding their hand and helping them through something. But you have to realize if that's happening, you're in the right place at the right time, and there's a reason for that interaction. So another thing is a sudden shift or a tipping point that takes place in your life. You had one of those things that suddenly, you have no idea why, but suddenly you love this new subject. You had no idea this thing existed, and it could just be working with angels. But suddenly there's this that has never been on your radar before, but you're interested in it now. And it's opening up other doors of things that you're interested in. So expanding on that in your own realm is basically Spirit's way of opening up doors for you. And when the student is ready, the teacher will follow. So you're going to get opportunities, etc. But there's just suddenly you have an interest in something and you didn't before. So that's also another clue that you could be a light worker. You have a feeling that you are on a mission to improve your life and those around you. You're always, picking up the slack and trying to help people. But you want to improve your life. You're not satisfied with being status quo. It's what can I do to be better? What do I need to do to get to the next step? You're just not going to sit there and be complacent. But in the other hand too, you're the best cheerleader for your friends. And you're like, you know what? If I'm doing it, you can do it. Get up, let's go. Except for running. I don't like to run, but other friends will get me motivated to do other things as well. But also by example, I get my friends motivated to do other things as well. And it's just because I'm doing it as an example. It's not like you're having to talk people into it, but I'm that person. I love having a great story on Monday. So because of that, I try new and different things. And people always tell me, I love watching your life because you encourage me to do those things and step out of my comfort zone. That's being a light worker. That's what I do. I'm not trying to show off. I'm doing it for myself because I want to improve my life. But by example, I'm also encouraging you to improve yours. You know that another thing is, you have a purpose. You don't know where to start though. Sometimes you're like going, I know that there's something bigger out there. I'm supposed to do something. And you feel almost for a while there, you just have all these balls up in the air and you don't know which one to deal with or what to do. And then suddenly something might happen and then you start, but it might take a while, but you just know that you're meant for something better or different. You just haven't figured out what that is yet because you're still in the same lane, and basically you're going to step out of that eventually. You seem to know a lot for your age. So you might be wise well beyond your years. You often get described as a loner. You know what? You have no problem just taking some time and doing things by yourself. You don't have to be, you're not one of those people that needs to sit in a crowd to be important. You like your alone time. You don't have to have other people to entertain you, and you aren't interested in entertaining other people. So, kind of a question you go, am I or am I not? You probably are. Another thing, and this isn't always the fun side of it, you've had a lot of trauma in your younger years. That could be from a divorce, abuse, neglect. It could be any of those things, but you actually suffered a lot of trauma in your younger years. Um, you also tend to steer away from organized religions, but you're spiritual. So, quick story, my girlfriend's getting married. Her mother, and this goes back years, her mother would not show up to the wedding unless she got married in a church. And she said, I'm not getting married in a church. I don't believe that. And sadly, her mother never showed up to her only daughter's wedding because she wouldn't get married on a church. And I told her, I said, look, if you're spiritual if it's on the sidewalk in front of you, or you're spiritual if you are, in a church, it doesn't matter. But as long as you're spiritual, you just don't feel like you fit into any organized religion, but you believe. So that's another sign that you're a light worker. You are naturally creative. You like art, you like writing, you like making things. Those are some of the signs, just, artistic. You'll play and strum an instrument for some, or mold clay, or even get out and, paint a picture of how the tree branches are all winding. But you find beauty and artistic endeavors very endearing to you, and they mean something to you. And they also are very calming for you, and you don't realize it, but that is part of it. Another thing is, you struggle to find your tribe. You don't always feel like you belong. I so get that. You know what? When you are just, you want to talk about things, but some of your friends are going, oh, you're just one of those weirdos. I don't know what, you can't seem to find a lot of people that resonate with you that are on that same wavelength, but those that you do find, you hold dear because you have the ability to be understood, which is that same understanding that you give to others. So you struggle to find your tribe, somebody that you could be your true authentic self with. You are by far an extremely powerful manifester. When you put your mind to something, it's a done deal. That was my slogan for many years. It still is. If I want something, it's not when, or it's not how, it's when. I know it's a done deal. I'm going to achieve what I want in some way, shape, or form. It's not exactly the exact picture sometimes, but you know what? I am really good at manifesting things. And I haven't gotten the lottery numbers yet. So nope, don't be calling me asking for lottery numbers right now, but I always try. Anyway, you yourself, if you're a light worker, you are a powerful manifester, and you don't realize that even if you think about something, suddenly it comes around, and sometimes it just kind of ticks off in your mind. You're going, did I actually thought about that. So when you start paying attention, it's kind of a fun game that you can play with yourself to see how much you can manifest. But anyway, that's just another one. Whatever you put your mind to, good or bad, you draw it to you. And that kind of goes hand in hand with the manifesting. So if you think about, oh, it's going to be a crappy day today, guess what? It's going to be a crappy day. If you think it's going to be an amazing day, nothing is going to get you down most times. it's going to be a good day. But what you put your mind to, it's a done deal. You often been told that you've got a really strong personality or strong energy. Like you actually repel some people. Don't take that personally. I just got to tell you, just don't take it personally, because honestly, if you've got a strong energy, it's your light, hence the word light worker, energy emitting out, and people will find that they can't handle because they can't control you. And therein lies the difference. People that are not threatened by your light because they also emanate their own light and energy are not going to be threatened by yours. So if people say, well, I can't date you or I can't be around you because you've got such a strong, you're overpowering, you know what? Don't make any apologies. That's you, and that is your light. Let it shine, baby. Let it shine. Another thing is you just know what people need without telling you. And that's kind of a fun thing where, you know what, you just go up and you just give somebody a hug. They needed it. They didn't know that they needed it, but they did. Or, you know what, acknowledging people need to be seen and heard, that you just know what they need. Sometimes it's sending a card in the mail. Sometimes it's just dusting off the computer for them, or doing that small act of service, or saying something. That is what I'm talking about. You just know what somebody needs. They didn't have to tell you, but you sense it. Another thing is you're always trying to better yourself. Now, in life, I think we should all do it. It's a never-ending job. What can you do better or more improved? And if somebody says, well, I'm the best I will ever be, well, then you know what? You haven't mastered everything yet. So just kind of be aware that, you're always trying to. And if you are, you probably a light worker. You have a strong connection to nature. So you love the woods, you love the water, you love animals, plants, trees, things of that nature. You just need to be in there. It's grounding to you. It makes you feel calm. So when nobody else is around, you can go sit by a tree, and you feel better. Listening to nature sounds is also very therapeutic for most people. Um, you may have had a strong spiritual awakening. And a lot of times, and it's not for everybody. I have a friend, Jen. Hi, Jen. She is just this amazing person, but she has never had one of these massive spiritual awakenings from a trauma, but it happened because a really good friend of hers passed away. And that was suddenly that awakening for her personally. But there is something strong in your life that maybe you go, there's something more out there. And that's that awakening that actually intrigues you, so that you start diving into it more, so that you start learning more, and things start unfolding for you. But you have some type of a strong spiritual awakening. For some people, it's a very traumatic experience. For others, it's just an event or series of events that actually cause you to suddenly be aware of it. You tend to learn your lessons before others do, and then you help them. That's not always the fun thing, but you know what? If you know that if you stick your finger in a light socket, you're going to get zapped, guess what? You're going to be standing next to the light socket, making sure nobody else who wants to stick their finger in that same light socket are going to hear your experience and tell them why they shouldn't do it. Now, sometimes people don't want to be told. They have to find out for themselves. But ultimately, you know what? We're learning a lot of lessons in life, and we're always trying to better ourselves and go, you know what? I'm never going to do that again. I'm never going to allow that again. And that means you could be a light worker. So we're going to take another quick break. We'll be right back. And you are listening to Message Delivery by Lisa Ann. Hey, everybody, welcome back. You are listening to Message Delivery. You can't make this stuff up. I'm your host, Lisa Ann. And if you want to reach me, you can reach out at 919-744-9691, or you can also reach me at angelmessagestoyou.com. That's angelmessages, the number 2, the letter U.com. So we're just getting ready to tie it all up. So we talked about light workers. We've talked about all of the different really cool attributes of a light worker. So what is your purpose? So basically, because there's even a lot of different kinds of light workers, this is just lightly touching upon what your purpose could be. But you promote equality, peace, compassion. You help heal via the healing professions, nurse, doctor, therapist, things of that nature. And I mean, if you've ever sat there and listened to your friends talk, you are a healer. You communicate others um, through your words. So you help to heal people. You do motivational speaking, life coaches, artistic endeavors. You also are a seer. So you end up giving a lot of clear messages to people to help them with their path forward. So just be aware that, angels come in many forms. Some are obvious, some are not so obvious, but all of them are very important. So how many did you identify with? So a question came up. What if you're more than one? Just know that you've got some really big shoes to follow. It's entirely possible you could be 2, 3, or even all 4 of these, but there's even more. Just know that you were put onto this earth as a special helper, and it's up to you to find and cultivate what that is. But it's entirely possible that a lot of these cross paths and that you are more than one of them. And it just means you got some big shoes. There are people right now that are just one. That's okay. And that's their job. But you may have different realms. But guess what? That also means you've got a lot of different opportunities available to you. So just kind of be aware. It's a good thing to be more than one. But maybe you saw some of these attributes in some of your friends, or maybe some of kids that you know, and you go, you know what? That explains so much about how they are. But we all come into the world to have experiences, and some things just click and you feel drawn to them to find out what they mean. Take the time to investigate it. You don't have to make a big production about it, but just check it out. Does it resonate with you? Does it feel right? If it does, then you need to look further into it because it was meant for you. Some of these things are actually coming up as timed activations. And I heard this described recently, and it made a lot of sense. But suddenly you come into this world, you've had all of these experiences, and then suddenly it's like your alarm goes off that turns on inside of you, and you suddenly you're awake, and these things are coming to you, and you're learning things. So be aware that that was your internal timeline that you set up basically before you got here. Settling is no longer an option for you. Your inner drive has kicked in. You are not settling for anything less than what you are interested in. It's a calling. So there's other buzzwords like crystal angels and also rainbow kids. So those are 2 other ones that you could actually like check into it to see if there's maybe something else that maybe you float into a little bit more than what you thought you were going to. So, but basically, you know what? You are just an amazing person. You're put on this earth to help people. And it doesn't mean that you have to interact with as many people, but you are just basically, you're this amazing human being. And even by example, you're still helping people. So I would encourage you to go ahead and check out. So remember, we talked about indigo, starseed, empaths, lightworkers, and I guess a couple other ones were the crystal angels and rainbow kids. They all have very distinctive things. Again, you could be more than one, but you might know somebody, and it might explain why they are the way they are. But ultimately, you don't have to be perfect. But to you, I know you're going to try. But guess what? In somebody else's world, you are perfect for them. So I just want to say thank you so much for joining me today. I can't wait to see you the first and third Thursday of the month. And I am looking forward to seeing you again soon. Please be safe, stay well, and have a good day. Bye.